Murder, bribery, game fixing, even trying to fistfight Tim Duncan. You guessed it, we're talking about the refs.
That's a foul for touching the basketball.
These are the most wild stories about NBA refs. For as long as games have been played, people have complained about officials.
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous.
Right now, as I'm rambling about this, you are thinking of that one friend that always complains about refs with his stupid, whiny face. That guy. But he does sometimes have a point. Now, I'm not here to break out the tinfoil hat and begin talking about wild NBA conspiracies. We'll do that in another video. Today, we're gonna simply look at wild things that refs have done in the past and problems that are still going on today. Sketchy refs like Dick Bevetta, Tim Donaghy, and recently, the GOAT of bad refs, Scott Foster.
Dropped down to tie my shoe up to hopefully see if we see the replay. Scott Foster walked over to me and told me, "Chris, you ain't got to do that. I got him sweeping up the floor." So I started tying my shoe back up, and he still called the leg game. That don't make no sense.
Let's start at the beginning. In 1951, NBA ref Saul Levy was suspended for fixing 6 games. You probably haven't heard much about this scandal because Levy was mysteriously murdered and there aren't a lot of details about it.
There has been a murder.
The New York DA at the time has stated that Levy was likely murdered because he did not come through for the fixers. Probably a good guess.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, dude, an NBA ref got murdered by the mob, and we don't talk about that enough. That should be talked about every time Steve Javi's dumb face slides into an NBA game. It should be like, oh, also, you should know, a ref got once murdered in 1951 for not fixing enough games. Around this time, the NBA realized, shockingly, the importance of thoroughly vetting their refs to make sure there aren't any links to organized crime. And for the next 35 years, the NBA was relatively scandal-free, at least when it came to refs. I mean, there were a litany of cocaine issues and sex issues, but at least they didn't involve refs. The only real controversy was the phantom foul call made in the '88 finals where Bill Laimbeer fouled out for a play where he seemingly didn't touch Kareem. But honestly, who cares? Laimbeer got away with murder in the paint for decades, so no one's really shedding a tear for this monster. Now, flash forward to 1994. 45 NBA refs were placed under investigation by the IRS. Mind you, at the time, the NBA only employed 54 officials, so 45 of their 54 were being looked at by the IRS. Shout out to those 9 guys who stayed clean.
Foul on number 3 for taking a number 2 on number 4.
The IRS investigation centered around unreported income. Now, you may think, well, Zach, those refs were probably let go. They weren't, and not only were they not let go, but they continued officiating while under investigation. Also, you definitely know the refs that were involved. Dick Bevetta, who we'll get to in a second, Steve Javi, and Ken Maurer, who you for sure recognize if you've watched any game in the last 20 years. Javi was acquitted, but old Ken Maurer would get convicted and get 5 months house arrest. Now, Dick Bevetta is the ref that Charles Barkley used to make fun of for being old, the same ref he one time raced and also did this.
But it lived up to the hype. Friends for life.
But that story sucks compared to other Bevetta stories. In the 1970s, Bevetta got beat up twice by Earl Strom. Earl Strom is not some shit NBA player you don't know about. Earl Strom was Bevetta's officiating partner. That's right, Bevetta got beaten up twice by his coworker. It wasn't even like it happened at a conference or in a bar. Both times it happened after NBA games. Imagine Bill from accounting whipping your ass in the break room and then doing it a second time. That was Bevetta's life. Bevetta is widely considered to be one of the worst NBA referees of all time. Bill Simmons once examined and showed all the playoff games that Bevetta went in and maybe swung to extend the series. Oh, it gets worse. He was also one of the 3 officials in charge of the 2002 Western Conference Finals where the Lakers beat the Kings in large part due to suspicious officiating, or as Kings fans call it, total f***ing bullshit. Former disgraced referee Tim Donaghy has said at least one of the 3 officials working the series had motives for wanting the Lakers to advance and made calls that influenced the outcome. In Game 6 alone, the Lakers got 18 more free throws than the Kings in the 4th quarter. The allegations around Bevetta in the series were so bad that the FBI even looked into them. Nothing came of it, and Bevetta was somehow inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Tim Donaghy resigned from the NBA after it was revealed that the FBI had identified that he had bet on games he had officiated. Donaghy was a gambling addict and allegedly wagered tens of thousands on games. The Donaghy scandal would get worse as Donaghy would point out that the NBA gave preferential treatment to big market teams. He also said that officials would be reprimanded reprimanded for giving technical fouls to star players. The feds would investigate these claims and ultimately find no basis for them. I know, a shocker. Donaghy would get sent to jail, write a book, and is now a referee for Major League Wrestling, which makes total sense. Good for you, Tim.
The official stood in front of the turnbuckle. What the hell was that? Unbelievable.
So refs have a bias for big markets and for betting, but refs are human. Are there players they simply don't like? Well, recently it came out that referee Scott Foster doesn't seem to like Chris Paul, which, listen, as a fan, we love Chris Paul, but I'll be honest, he does seem like a pain in the ass, unlike his brother Cliff, who is a saint and is only trying to save you money on car insurance. Foster once called a delay of game on CP for trying to tie his shoes. He also bragged to Paul about getting his team eliminated from the playoffs.
That don't make no sense.
This is not new. In 2007, Joey Crawford, who looks like he's always about to tell you to get the hell off of his lawn, once tried to fight Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan. This man is quiet and kind. I mean, the only person worth fighting is whoever let Tim dress like this. Tim is also well versed in MMA and would turn Joey Crawford to dust. Joey Crawford wanted to fight Tim Duncan and ejected Duncan for laughing on the bench. Crawford was suspended for the season for his conduct.
Duncan's out of the game. He's thrown Duncan out of the game.
But the refs of today are playing a whole different game than Joey Crawford. See, the league decided it was more important to promote offense and let officials call more fouls.
What are you gonna do about it?
So now we get playoff games where Trae Young hunts for fouls for 30 to 40 minutes. The other thing the league decided was that it was time to stop players from yelling at refs, which sucks. Go back to games in the 90s or early 2000s and look at the way that players could react to refs without getting a tech. You could scream in a ref's face and they would just stand there like a kid from a Scared Straight program. The other big shift was that the NBA was no longer going to allow any sort of contact between opposing players after Malice of the Palace. This basically handed the refs the Infinity Gauntlet because they could now hand out a tech if they simply felt that they were losing control of the game.
Foul. I want one of the players to do it.
Which is great because that's what we all tune in to see. Refs making it all about themselves. The only exception is Foul Bay, who absolutely smolders when he delivers a call. Look at him. Look at him. He knows how hot he is.
Launching his body into the defender and also making extensive contact into the facial area.
At the end of the day, your friend who complains about the refs might be right, unless he's wearing a Warriors jersey. But refs are human, and humans are flawed as f***. They try their best, but you know what? Don't feel bad when you boo their ass, because technically this is their job, and they provide a fantastic scapegoat for when our own teams let us down.
Now, Tim, come on. You called that right down the middle.
Absolutely, just like in 2007 when the Lakers played the Kings, everything was on the up and up.
Right down the middle. Yeah, it's exactly like
This is get in the way. Hey, get out of my way. You cheat on me. That's my belt.
Toss in the comments the worst officiating call that happened to your team. Also, like the video, make sure to subscribe. And if you're interested in more videos like this, you can learn about how the Sonics got stolen from Seattle, pervert NBA owners, and why D-Lo's a snitch.